So this question here was an exam question, and it's actually telling you how to go about doing the question. So it directs you and it tells you that you need to factorise in order to find the roots. And remember that find the roots just means you're trying to solve this equation. So in order to do that, your different types of factorising that you should be checking for, you always check for the picking out the highest common factor, and here we can see that we've got an x as our highest common factor. So the x is going to come out to the front. You're then going to have 8 inside with a minus x, and they are multiplying together to be equal to 0, and that therefore means that either the x that's on its own must be 0 or the 8 minus x must be equal to 0. And this one here, 8 take away what equals 0? Well, that would mean that the x on its own needs to be equal to 8. So how you would earn your marks here, factorising, making sure you've got that equals 0 there. That would be your first mark, and your second mark would be for making sure you've got both the roots. So you need to have the x equals 0 and the x equals 8 in your working. So that one clearly factorised to be able to solve. However, not all quadratics can be solved by factorising, and a key thing about when to use the formula, which is the alternative version, is usually it will say give your answer to so many decimal places. That means there's no point in even trying to factorise it because it's not going to be able to be factorised. So go straight to using the formula. So using the formula means that you're comparing your 2x squared plus 5x minus 4 equals 0. You are comparing that with ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, which is this expression here. That appears on the formula sheet. So then it is about identifying your a, b and your c. So the a is anything that's multiplying the x squared, which in this case is 2. The b is whatever is multiplying the x, which here would be 5. And then your value for c is anything that doesn't have an x attached to it, which in this case would be minus 4. So you need to make sure that you've got the negative sign in there. So rather than going straight to subbing into that big formula, we're doing the bit under the root. So we're working this here out, and this is referred to as the discriminant, and you'll meet that in a later lesson that we'll look at. So b squared minus 4ac, the bit under the square root, we're going to get a single value for that. So that means here that we would have 5 squared minus that 4ac bit. That means those three terms are all getting multiplied. So you've got 4 times 2 times the negative 4. Make sure you put brackets around that. You carry that out on the calculator. Right, that will come to 57, and that's only part of, you get a mark for doing for working out that value of b squared minus 4ac. So the next mark is for actually working out or subbing into the big expression. So when you see the formula written down, so your roots are given by this expression, x equals negative b, and you've got that plus or minus double signing, and that's just a convenient way to save writing out this big formula twice. However, when you come to sub into it, so negative b would mean that you were writing down negative 5, plus and minus like that, and then underneath this root, we don't need to write all this bit about 5 squared, etc. You just need to put that single value in. So you've got 57, and the whole thing is being put over 2a. That means you're doing 2 times a, and your value for a here was equal to 2, so we should have 2 times 2. Now at this point we can then split this up into 2 solutions. So we're going to have one where we are adding on the root, So the top of the fraction, you've got -5 add root 57 all over. Make sure that line covers the whole fraction. The other root value will be worked out by doing -5 minus root 57 all over 2a, which has got the value of 4. So you basically, this line here where you've subbed in and you've got the value of b squared minus 4ac correct, then that would be your second mark. The next bit, you just have to do all of this in the calculator. Make sure you use the fraction key to do this. And this would come out, this left hand one comes out to be 0.6374, etc. And you were being asked to round this to 1 decimal place. So that would give you 0.6. Your other one, when you do that calculation, you get -3.1374 and a whole load of other digits. That will round to -3.1 to 1 decimal place. And that would be your two solutions, the 0.6 and the -3.1. You would need both of those correct to get the third mark. Right, so the third mark is for both solutions, and you need to round correctly. If you don't round correctly, then you will, even if one of them's correct and not the other one, you're going to lose the mark. So it's quite important, right, that you understand that you need to get both solutions correctly rounded to whatever they tell you to round to. And that's it. That's your working with the quadratic formula for that question.